So without further ado, please, Tracy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Christina, and welcome everyone. I have been part of the Merit Club for, I think, 1.5 years now. And Christina, you've just done an exceptional job pivoting into the online arena. So I've really only ever met Christina in person, and doing these webinars has allowed us to expand. And I've seen many of you are in the London area. There's a lot of names that I recognize and love. So hello to the people I know. But also I see new faces, we'll see new faces, as well as people are calling in from all over, which is really the purpose. So as you all know, and if you've been on any of my talks, I really want to give you hours and hours of value in the 60 minutes that we have together. So I'm really going to make sure that you get the most out of this time. And there's a lot of competition online right now. There's a lot of webinars going on, a lot of different things happening. So I want to make sure that you signed up for this. This is something that you want, that you get the most out of it. I'm going to share my screen. So let me do that real quick. And make sure that you all can see the slide. Can someone give me a yes in the chat box if you can see this here? Oops. All right, cool. Oh yeah, all right, we're here, all the yeses, cool. So, so I'm talking about a really interesting topic, the 4-hour workday. Has anyone read the book, The 4-Hour Work Week? If you could just put a 1 in the box, 4-Hour Work Week with Tim Ferriss. Yeah, I love Alice, awesome, love that book, cool. I will pause. Can you all see me? Can I just have a yes? Can you see me? Okay, all right, I can't see me, but I don't need to see me. Thank you. So what's really interesting, I'm kind of spinning off of that book called The 4-Hour Work Week with Tim Ferriss. And it's a great book to help you really focus on automation, on processes, to basically not be working in your business, but own a business, to become a real business owner rather than an employee in your company. So I'm not going to take it that extreme. I want to just bring it back to the fact that maybe you in your business right now, there are different approaches and techniques that you can be using to work potentially some less hours, but have a high impact financially with the people that you're serving, and as well as just feeling joy and fulfillment in your day-to-day life. That's really it. Let's see. So please, what I'd love for you to do, make sure if you're joining us, I love using the chat box. So if you move your mouse around, make sure to have the chat box open. I'm going to be asking questions as I go. That way I can hear from you all. So keep chat open and be ready to participate. So let's see here. What I'd love to hear first is, how come you said yes to this webinar? How come you wanted to give an hour of your life to be on this call? What do you want to get out of this? Maybe you're having a challenge or a struggle with your work hours. Maybe you want new tips. I'm going to leave it up to you. Please just give me a hint. That way I can speak directly to you as I walk through the call. So Caroline, being more productive. Thank you. Being more effective, having free time, new techniques. The kids are telling you you're working too many hours. Good one, Corey. Feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, that's great. And that's what Christina talked about as well earlier. How to use your time, and oh, I love that. Still have a life. Well, this is your life. All right, so this is really great. And some people are working till 11. Thank you, Catherine, for your honesty. Currently in your full-time job, but you'd like to relaunch something on the side. Perfect space to be in. And procrastinating with your free time. Ocean, what a great name. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you. So let me see how much of that I can address. And I also want to empower you. If that's your intention for this time that we have, make sure to ask me questions or to learn and do the exercises in a way where you can get that intention figured out. So lead with that energy that if you want to be more productive, watch this and try to grab tools around productivity. Or if you're procrastinating, watch this and use the information to help you to jump out of that space, which obviously is disempowering. So you might be saying, who the heck are you? So some people know me. I also want to say that even if you do know me, I'm going through a metamorphosis. I'm becoming a butterfly. I've been running a company called Tracy Live, where I coach business leaders and entrepreneurs and supporting them to achieve incredible results in their business and lives. And I've been narrowing down all of the work I've been doing, and what I specialize is in self-mastery. So the inner work. I believe my thesis on life and business is that the more that you can become self-aware, self-conscious, aware of how to pivot and change from within you, you can create any results you want externally. So procrastination is inner work. Using time wisely comes down to you. Handling kids' demands or feelings of overwhelm and that emotion, all of the things that you've shared are actually stuff that's going on inside of you, and how you start to navigate and behave, that inner work that you're doing to help you to become and break out of habits, become a new self, that's where all the game-changing magic happens. So if you were thinking I was going to give you 5 tips on how to be more productive, that is so boring, and it usually doesn't work. Right? So you go online and people have a blueprint or a strategy on just do this and everything will work, where you could read the book by Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek. And if you don't change your behavior, if you don't change your mindset, your emotions, or you just simply don't believe it's possible, the book won't work for you. So if that's resonating with you, just give me a 2. That you see the connection between yourself and inner growth and the results that you're going to create in your business. Cool. So these are the 7 domains that I work through with clients, and that's kind of the energy we're going to be navigating from today. The other thing is I moved to London from Washington, D.C. Almost 4 years ago, and I founded Tracy Live, and I worked probably 10, 12-hour days. I loved it. I was in my purpose. I was aligned to what I was doing. I was no longer working in a company, and I really figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was working because I loved it. However, along my journey, I was realizing that there were significant areas that were holding me back within myself from getting to the next level in the financial impact and the results that I wanted to create. And so even though I was working harder, I started to stop seeing results, and I was getting actually emotions of frustration and overwhelm. And I knew that the next place I wanted to go to in business, which one of them was working less hours, but not compromising my money that I was making, not compromising the value of the service I provide, that was the big question. So I now work 4-hour workdays on Fridays. And I typically work about a 6 or 7 hour day on the other days. So I would say that's a 50% decrease down. And it actually feels like a good rhythm. So think about yourself, how many hours you're working, and what would be an ideal day for you. Maybe it's 4 hours, but maybe it's sometimes 6. But 12 hours gets burnout a week very quickly. And Caroline, you're asking if I work 5 days a week. I do. I preface that with I have a 1-year-old, Liam, and I'm also 6 months pregnant. So, hey. So I definitely work Monday through Fridays. Occasionally I'll do a couple hours on a Saturday morning. It's more for my creative space. But that just means I will work less on other days. So if you want to chat about strategies on how to craft your schedule, let me know. But you have to work at times that feel right for you. Thank you on my pregnancy. Thank you. So let's jump in, y'all. A note from the universe. You can get notes from the universe every day to your inbox if you'd like. And I want to read this. And if you could put both of your feet on the floor, that would be great, just to ground yourself a bit. So the universe is telling you, by surrendering the cursed hows, Tracy, as in how your dreams will come true to life's magic, you not only free yourself up to imagine your dreams without fear, but you free me up to bring about those dreams much faster, as in double pronto zippy. You lucky salt, tally-hoo, the universe. That's actually what the email said. And I love this because when people are thinking about how do I work less, how do I create more value and impact, the universe is constantly reminding us to drop the how. And I say this to my clients all the time. They want to know how, but what we need to actually do is step out of the how and maybe find ways to dream and imagine the things that we want. The how starts to fall into place. And so I love that you love the note. Maybe the only thing you take away is the cursed hows, that you have to drop first. How do I do something? And ask a better question, which is what we're going to get into today. Anyone know Whitney? Give me a 3 if anyone knows Whitney Johnson. And if you don't, get on her email list or listen to her podcast. She is one of my heroes. And her and Seth have 2 really great quotes. And I want you to start to think about time differently. So now that we've dropped the how, time. And this in my business is such an important thing, because we could spend a lot of time on things that do not move the needle at all. Her name is on the slide, Alice, Whitney Johnson. You see it, it's in her black box in front of the presentation. Can you send Christina a message, Amel, and see if you can figure that out?
Yeah, I think it might be, do you have the chat box open? You have the mouse on there. Maybe
oh,
you
is that it? Is my chat box over?
It could be that, yeah. I'm
sorry, guys.
That's okay.
How about this? Is that better?
Yeah. I think
okay. Thanks. Whitney Johnson. So I'm just gonna move this down a little bit. So the big thing I want you to think about is value in your business does not need to take time. The more value you create in your job, the fewer actual clock minutes of labor you actually spend creating that value. In other words, most of the time you're not being brilliant. Most of the time you're doing ordinary stuff that people could do. And the biggest thing that I want you to think about with being more productive or not procrastinating or having more time with your kids is that the big thing with this presentation is it does not take time to create exceptional results in your business. It actually takes bursts of creativity, bursts of that idea that is going to hit you, that's going to be the game changer, the thing that's going to come into your business and help you completely transform what you're doing. So let me give you just a case in point, something that happened today. So I had a call with a woman. She works in a large company, 4,000 employees here in the UK. And she had approached me to do a 90-minute talk for her team. And it would be kind of an open topic, something that I could discuss on. And she had mentioned in 90 minutes, I'd be in front of about 500 people. And they were going to pay me quite a good amount of money. I got her to tell me the budget before showing my cards on the table. And so I was thinking about how this opportunity actually landed on my plate. And what really happened was that when I was creating this webinar, we posted it on LinkedIn, and my amazing VA sent invites to people, inviting them to come to the event. And this woman happened to get the invite. She checked out the event. She went to my website, and then she sent me an email saying, "We've been looking for speakers. Could you speak with us?" Completely cold, I would say, in a sense. And as you can imagine, not only is it a paid job, but it has a really high impact, because 90 minutes of my time plus prep, I'm going to get in front of 500 people. And I know a lot of times people are struggling with, how can I get in front of a wider audience or go bigger? And so I want you to think about that when you're in a creative space, when you're in that giving space where you're creating a webinar, when you're going to be providing a high value of service, you want to make sure that that is the thing that you're promoting rather than a lot of one-to-one messages to people. Okay, so again, this webinar is high impact because I get to talk to 25 of you at the same time rather than have 25 individual calls. And so again, the biggest thing to take away is that it's the burst of creativity. And Whitney Johnson says perfectly, your odds of success are going to be 6 times higher when you pursue a disruptive course. Whitney talks a lot about disruption. You all have to think about, how can I disrupt the status quo in my business today? How can I disrupt the habit, I'm going to hit repeat on today from yesterday? That is where everything is going to be coming into play. So how can you imagine and dream bigger and think, how can I get into a wider landscape? That's where the money's coming in. That's where the opportunities are going to come in. That is where you drop down to 4 hours a day, but you deliver 1 talk. You have 2 calls, and you're bringing in everything that you want because it's very high value activities that you're working on. So pausing here, I want you to drop in what you feel would be a high value activity for you to focus on. What is something that you could do right now in your business that would have the biggest bang for your buck? Let's see, let's get a brainstorm started. I would like to see what you all think. Alice, a group coaching program, so getting a group together. Marilyn, a workshop for 100 people. Yeah, Carrie shared the link, the webinar on LinkedIn. Do it, it works. To 80 to 100 people. Sarah, corporate workshops. Lexi, working on a webinar. First one ever, amazing. High impact. Yeah, thought leadership blog. So maybe submitting your piece to a more recognized publication. Catherine, online product party. These are ideas. Rachel, a boot camp, online course, getting people together. An offer to launch your business. Excellent. I want you to really turn up the dial. Okay, and Seth Godin talks about how Richard Branson of Virgin makes billions of dollars 5 minutes a day. And he said, Richard does what most of us do. He leads a company, he looks at the budget, he does this. But what makes him a billion-dollar businessman is that he can see opportunities in his mind, make decisions that work, and connect the dots between the people he serves, the ventures he has in the business. So write on your paper, I have a billion-dollar mind, I have billion-dollar opportunities and billion-dollar ideas. So I'm going to jump over that because I want to make sure we have enough time. So before we can go into your 4-hour workday, I want you to first step back and imagine what success looks like. So you all have just put some ideas down that could help you have a higher impact. Let's do a 5-minute visualization on your 4-hour workday. What does success look like? And to me, a beautiful beach always makes me feel better. So let's imagine, you're going to imagine your 4-hour workday. So close your eyes if that feels comfortable. 80% of our sensory information comes in through our eyes. So when we do close our eyes, it actually starts to quiet the mind, and it helps the mind go a little bit more into coherence and calms down. It gets out of the how and the thinking, and it lets more inspiration and guidance come up. Because Richard Branson doesn't sit around and think. He gets hit like a lightning bolt with ideas and opportunities, and he's available for them. All right. So in order for us to create a 4-hour workday and to step into success, we need to first be able to see it in our mind's eye. What I'd like for you to do now is just take a deep breath And really go into this exercise. Give yourself 5 minutes. You're going to visit your future self, the person who's living in that 4-hour workday lifestyle. Go and visit this incredible person that you've become and see what they're up to. So fly down on earth wherever this person is and happens to be when they're living in success and everything's the way that they want it. Notice what's different about you first. What's different about your inner life? What's changed about you for the better? When you're in this 4-hour workday, watch yourself. What do you look like when you're working? Notice how you're making your day and the decisions you're making. Notice the space that you're in to be operating in that elevated state of consciousness. What are you doing? What are you creating? What joy, what fun are you doing on this 4-hour workday? And maybe notice the space and the gaps of what you're no longer doing. The things that you've dropped that aren't serving you anymore. Get to where you want to go. How much money are you making? Having changed to this lifestyle. And please turn up the dial on the financial abundance. You're working like the $1 billion Richard Branson. Not overwhelmed, not procrastinating, not hustling, just doing the few things that are going to move the needle. Maybe pull up that thought leadership blog that you're featured in and turn up the dial on the stages that you're in, the networks that you're a part of. You're no longer where you are, you're where you want to be. What emotions are you feeling? And what are you doing outside of your work? Turn up the dial on that. With all those amazing hours in your day, what else are you doing that's filling up your cup? What are you jumping into that feels really good outside of your purpose in your work? And why do you want this? Tap into your why. Because if it's not strong enough, you won't walk here. Why is this so important to you? Is it for your health, your relationships, your hobbies, just your general satisfaction? Why is it so important that you create success financially as well as your impact, but you're working a lot less? Your value is higher in this place. So take a moment before you go from this place to turn to that future self. And she has something and she wants to tell you to make sure that you come back here focused and ready to go. She has some guidance, some advice for you. She's in success. Listen to her. What is she saying? What simple advice is she giving to you so you can walk this path? Take that in. And fly back from that future place into the present moment. A few minutes into the future now. And come back to your chair and come back to your seat. I'd like for you to take a moment to write down, if you have a pen and paper, what you saw, what you heard, and what sticks out most for you when you're in success. Just take a moment to capture that visualization and that advice that you got. And it would be great for people to share in the chat what your vision of success looked like. Please share. I'd like to hear a little bit about what you saw, what you heard when you were in success in the 4-hour workday. Just a few sentences. Let's get a few people to chat in here, and then we'll move on. Carrie, you saw the freedom to use my time in ways I want, money to help my family. Amazing. Lots of people around me to support me, a beautiful space in nature where I work and to live. Lovely, Marilyn. Rachel, financially free, creating, writing. I love that. Cheryl, calmness, light, relaxation, happiness, more in control. Putting my mom in a beautiful flat in Connecticut. Open spaces, sunlight, content and happy. Please keep that coming as we keep going. Please let us know what you've seen in your vision. A lot of people in space and outdoors, which is interesting, in creative space. Please write this word down. How was I creative today? Because your creativity, I'm telling you this, your creativity is everything in your business and in your professional career. Amanda, drop what you don't like. More laughter, more time in the forest. Yes. And I want an honest answer. Who in here really believes that they can create this vision of success with the financial income they want, the impact, the way of service, really believe that it's possible working 4 hours a day or around that mark? Can you just type in a yes if you genuinely believe that you can make that happen? All right, cool. We got some yeses with a lot of S's. And for the people who are like, I would like to believe it, but if I don't work 10, 12-hour days, then I don't think I can make the money, or it seems too far away. Anyone have resistance to this? Because that's also cool. Yeah, thanks, Caroline. I know Caroline. Thanks, Caroline. A bit of resistance. Anyone else have like some resistance to it? Like, oh yeah, that's great, Tracy, but I don't really know. Corey's answer was yes, eventually. Some resistance. Cool. Okay. So hopefully you can see this GIF. Oh, she's going to stop moving, I think. Oh, there she goes. So in Seth Godin's book, Linchpin, which is right here, and I'm going to have an image of it later, he says, and you all, please trust me, it doesn't take a lot of time to create success, but you have to have bursts of creativity and inspiration. And the second thing that you need in this equation is to overcome the resistance. So this girl, she's doing parkour. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's when you're, thank you, Corey, I'm going to move my box. If you talk to me, give me a second. She's doing some parkour, meaning it's free running over objects, and it's quite a cool thing. And when she's doing this, she's overcoming a resistance because she's in flow and she's not thinking too much. However, the big thing is, and the thing that causes procrastination, it causes all of us to do busy work, checking the phone, going online, making excuses. It's just our, Seth Godin calls it our lizard brain. It's the thing in the back of your mind, the amygdala, that's trying to keep you safe. So for most people, our amygdala would be like, don't run like this girl, okay? Don't try to jump over all this stuff because you're gonna hurt yourself. It's the same metaphor in business. If you approach that person who is the president of this global company, you're gonna hurt yourself. They're gonna criticize you. They're gonna say no. It's not gonna work. Please type in the box if this is resonating for you. Just let me know if it is. Yes, give me a 5 if it's resonating. So you really want it, but then all of a sudden the resistance comes in. And the big thing I want to talk to you about is recognizing the resistance in you to do the big thing. The reason why it's difficult to get out of our comfort zone is because the big thing causes resistance. Okay, so I can't do that. It costs too much money. I'd rather join and sit on a committee than lead the committee because it would take, I'd have more responsibility and ownership to be a leader. These are also from the book, which I love. People can also tend to be boring, generic, right? I have a fear of being generic. We resist being bold and being out there or effing up and making a mistake. So we stay in this boring, kind of generic state of mind. All right. And we might not ask questions. So if we're unsure about how can you send me a warm referral for my business, for example, we might not ask. The reason why I'm doing another webinar with another company is because I have my mentor. I asked him if he knew anyone who would be interested in doing a talk, and he connected me to this guy. And now I'm kind of besties with the president of this company, and we're going to do a talk. But I had to kind of overcome the resistance to think, should I ask Glenn, who's my mentor? You know, who am I to ask? And just wait. So stop waiting. That's a form of resistance. And so I would like for you to chat in the box. What activities do you do when you're in resistance? Are you excessively networking, but never really landing business? Are you procrastinating for a fear of having to actually put yourself out there? Maybe, and I was pretty boring in my business for a while. I tried to fit into the box of what I thought other people wanted me to be, and I was so confined that I was probably pretty generic and boring. And you probably all have seen some of that from me. So hand over heart, let's see it. I'm going to open the chat again. Where are you in resistance, guys and gals? Scroll the phone. Let's see here. Oops. So we've got avoiding being busy with all sorts of other things. Waiting. Yeah. Natalie, do you know Hamilton the musical? There's a song called Wait For It. I want you to listen to it. Actually, I want all of you to listen to it. Hamilton the musical, Wait For It. Waiting. Guys, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Okay. Tidying up your inbox. Gosh, I'm so guilty of that, Cheryl. Limiting beliefs. Rachel, what limiting beliefs? Caroline, master of distractions. How do you distract yourself? Abandoning ideas. That's sabotage. So we've got ideas. We might even start some things, but then we don't actually ship it, which we're going to get to. I love this. Thank you so much. I want you really after this webinar, and I'll have this sent out. I want you to get really, really snug and close to your resistance. Every time I put time into my business, I always find a client work to do instead. Yes, this is it. So this is magic, okay? The thing is that I've gotten really good at overcoming the resistance. And that's all the inner work. It's all the mind. It's all managing your emotions. having a clear vision on your purpose. This is, again, all the work I do with people. It's all of what's going on inside of you has to get all configured and aligned so that, you know, when I decide to do something, I'm all in. So the self-saboteur doesn't come into play with me very often because I'm very keen on how I'm going to be committing to things. I'm tackling being boring because I've been, you know, I'm trying to get out of the box and talk about things that most people aren't talking about. All right. So if you go on another webinar about how to have a 4-hour workday, 90% of people will talk to you about these boring generic tips. Yeah. So I want to give you the parkour girl to help mitigate some boringness. Okay. So this is what came up for y'all. And this is really important when you're thinking about creating your 4-hour day. When you're thinking about, I have a vision for success. I want that 4-hour workday. Noticing the resistance, the things that keep you from having the life that you want. All of these things are your barriers. Okay. And so I thought that I had a other slide, but no, I didn't. Okay. So we're going to talk about this. So the big thing in the book as well, Seth Godin talks about that the people who ship regularly are the ones that are indispensable. So I'm going to read this out to you. The only purpose of starting something is to finish. Your only task is to ship. Hit the publish button on your blog, lead that webinar, send out that referral, ship your products. When you ship something out the door and you do it regularly without the hassle, resistance, and fear, this is a rare skill and will make you indispensable. And when I would go to networking events and collect cards, I think I was probably one of the few people that would, the next day, I would send a personal email to every single person. I would ship. Great to meet you. You know, would you like to book on a call or whatever? Maybe I wanted to recommend a book. I would only ever take business cards because people would never email me back. So they would do the networking, but they would forget to ship it, meaning sending me an email. Or maybe after this webinar, the one thing that you ship is make sure to connect with me or to connect to someone on here, because you want to make sure that you're constantly doing actions that are going to move the needle forward. The same thing with this webinar. I had an idea and I thought, wow, I should put on a webinar. And the first step of it was to contact Christina. And you should see our email chain, 25 emails, we're organizing it. But the shipping it is just right now, this 1 hour. I'm shipping the webinar. So in your business, I want you to think about and write down right now, what are the biggest things that you need to ship? What do you need to publish? What do you need to send out? What can you ship today that will make the most impact? And that could be 3 or 4 things. I emailed the president of the company my bio. I sent him the title and description of the webinar. I sent him my guidebook. And that took about an hour out of my 4-hour day. But it was the biggest email that I could ship of the day. I have 40 unanswered emails, but I shipped that one email. Do you see what I'm saying? It's quality. So what are y'all saying? Are y'all chatting with me? What can you ship either today, or what do you know that is that's going to move the needle that you need to ship that's going to create the most value in your business? Like, is it that email to your membership to invite more people to join the Merit Club because people are abroad and you want to do that? Is it that idea that is so important that can move the needle? Fiona, girl, you're working and on the webinar. She just shipped something right now. Good. What can you ship that is a big deal? Catherine, set up an event. This is probably the biggest question I could ask. And sometimes we get in our minds. So the work that I do is to help people trust some guidance outside and be inspired by bursts of creativity to come up with what's going to happen. What did Carrie say? I lost it. Carrie, say it again.
She said that with all that's going in the world, I feel guilty shipping this week.
The resistance. Thank you, Christina. Notice, wow, there's my resistance. I just got off a call with someone in a company and they've pitched me a price that's really amazing for a talk, a webinar. They're ready to ship. They've got people they need to get training. They're right in front of it. So again, recognizing the resistance is something to work out within you so that you don't stop yourself from shipping your magic. You see that? Come on, give me 2 more ideas of what you could ship. High value impact activities. You could even just ask someone for a referral or connection. Like I asked my mentor, Glenn. Email that person and say, who do you know that works in a company that might want to talk? That's what I mean by shipping at a high value. And I'm just talking from my own world. Everyone has their own businesses. So this is the sequence from today's webinar. This is the sequence. I'm going to close my chat. All right. So 4-hour workday will come down to these 4 tips. When you're thinking about how am I going to create my day so that it is full of value, it is doing the most important activities, and it's going to create the highest value. Like leave other days to get back to your inbox. I'm telling you. First of all, thrash. And I love this concept with Seth Godin. He says before you make a decision, you need to thrash around a bit with the idea. You need to pull out the drawing board. You need to think, okay, you know, I'll use Glenn, my mentor, as an example. You know, I got hit with this idea to do more asking for connections rather than cold DMing and messaging people. I don't know. I don't think it's fun. If you don't think it's fun, just say, I don't think cold DMing is fun. So I was thinking, okay, this is my strategy right now. I'm going to ask Glenn. I first had to think, well, what exactly am I asking him? What's my intention? What information might he need to be able to give me a decision? Should I ask him for a call? So before I just kind of brainlessly just throw something, I'm trying to thrash the idea out first. And only when that idea that you have is clear, all the ideas that you said, even inviting someone to discovery call, you need to thrash around first. Is this person a qualified lead? How come I'm inviting them? What's the purpose? Then you move to the decision. Like I got the referral from Glenn and the connection to this guy. I had to then decide how I wanted to approach this person and what I would be putting out there. So you have to make a decision. This overcomes procrastination, as well as if you have a lot of ideas, you need to thrash them out a lot first and then make a decision on something, just one thing. So just make sure that your decision-making process in your 4-hour day is like spot on. After you've decided, this is when all the resistance comes up. All of the, ooh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just make it a little boring and generic. I don't want to ruffle the feathers. Or, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. What are some other resistance things? Waiting. Oh, I have the idea to message Glenn. Oh, I'll just go check this out. And we distract and resistance comes in and we don't actually send the email. So what I'd like you to do is take action. If you've decided on something, ship it. Go and ship your idea. I emailed Christina, I want to do a webinar. Let's pick a date. I love picking a date. Once she says yes, I send the title and description. We get it online and there it is. We've done round 1 of shipping. I've committed it fully. So this is the sequence. Thrashing an idea out first. Make sure that this is the golden nugget of value. Make a firm decision that you will ship this. Don't do anything that you won't ship anymore. Make me a promise. And then the next thing is overcoming and noticing the resistance, doing the inner work. getting support to work through things that are limiting beliefs or things that about you that you want to grow. I love continuous improvement. I think that this is the best thing that we can do in business, is to grow and to be able to become a heightened version of ourselves. Because that beautiful person that's working a 4-hour workday is different from who's sitting watching this webinar. How did you change yourself? How did you grow? So when you've shipped it, that's where the magic happens. That's where I get to present a webinar and I get to hang out with all of you. It's because we've shipped the idea. So I'm going to pop back into the chat. And I'm going to read what you're writing. And what I want you to do is write down on a piece of paper. This is how we're going to close. This is the last slide, and then we'll open up to chat. I want you to imagine 10 brilliant ideas that could help you overcome the resistance, make a clear, great decision on what you're going to ship, and help you have the 4-hour workday. So again, you all sent me like one idea, but I want you to write 10 high value activities that you can do in your business or professional career to not spend a lot of time working, but make the biggest impact. And you could steal what we've talked about today. During this time right now in COVID-19 and business is changing, it is imperative that you are thinking out of the box. And if this is hard, good. If it is hard to come up with even 5 things you would do, no wonder you're busy and in resistance. When you have full clarity and focus on what will move the needle, your work days will be so effortless and easy. I'm pretty sure I worked 5 hours today. All right, so it's possible, and I was working 10, 12. So write these down. Are you all coming up with new ideas? What are brilliant bursts of ideas and creativity that you can do in your business that could actually help you make more money, more impact, and help you get the 4-hour workday? Can you please put these in the chat? I'd love to see more ideas. I love the idea of making a list. What did you say? Instead of a waiting list, make a list of 10 people who really inspire me and reach out to them. Great, brilliant idea. Expand your success network. Corey, do singing videos about your products. Yes, do not be boring. You could just say, like, how can I not be boring? Write out your 10 ideas. You could use some of the resistance to help you to create your ideas. Carrie, connect to strategic targets, not just connecting haphazardly. Yeah. And I love people to the left and the right of you. Guys, and y'all email one person or message one person today that you know and say, look, I was just on a webinar. I want to do one of those. If you do, who do you know? Sherelle, contact prospective customers who've gone quiet and see if you can restart project conversations. What I would recommend, Sherelle, is before that you get into their world about restarting a project, first step in with empathy and just get curious about them right now. Say, look, I've been quiet too. Can you imagine what's been going on? How have you been? What's been your workload like? Just get curious about that person. If you know anything about them personally, if they have kids or if they had a trip, just send them a quick message and don't need anything. And then lean into how that conversation flows. Corey, you can do a live online quiz. Natalie, start a podcast. Yeah. Thrash the idea. Thrash. If you've decided on it, pick a date in June where your podcast is going to be sent to all of us. And I want to get it, please. Get invited to talk as a guest on a podcast. Go ahead with your brilliant ideas. Pick 5 people whose podcast you'd like to speak on, or someone you know. I know someone who runs the Watt Pod, Women on Top, Frankie Cotton, always looking for female guest speakers. So connect to me and say, Tracy, do you know anyone that does this? That is a brilliant idea that can, in 10 minutes, change the game. Okay, I love this. So keep your ideas flowing. I'm going to come off so that people can jump on and talk to me and actually like speak. But I want to just comment on 2 things before we go into the Q&A, and I want to hear more ideas. Please, if you're interested, become a member of the Merit Club. I've been involved with them for 1.5 years. There are in-person events when they're available, but again, you get free tickets to all of their courses, and they run 20 online things right now a month. There's an amazing private network of female entrepreneurs at all levels of business. And so learn more about becoming a member there. And then I always do this in my webinars. You can win, if you haven't already had one, a 30-minute alignment session with me. Let's take what you've gotten from the call today, and one-to-one we'll dig deeper. There's no sales, there's no pitching, nothing. It's legit a 30-minute call with me. 3 people to email me by the end of the day to tracy@tracylive.com can get that alignment session. This is literally just my gift to you to help you dig deeper into what we've done today. So please email me. And let's turn it over to you. I would love to answer questions, get people to chat. And thank you so much for all of your engagement. You guys are freaking incredible. So let's turn it back over. So who would like to come on and chat? I can't see anyone's face.
Yeah, I can't see anything either. I don't know what's happening. Hold on, I might just stop sharing your screen.
There we go.
There we go. There we are.
I can see myself.
Hello. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. So much value. So much value. There's no option for a video, but we can actually allow you to talk. But you can also just submit your questions in the Q&A if you wanted to, or chat or whatever, and then do it that way. If you want to come on, I can totally just make you, what's it called? Make your voice. I can't speak. You know what I mean? Basically, turn on your microphone. So just let me know if you want to.
Are you able to turn their microphone on?
Yes, individually. So if someone wants to say something, I can Cheryl, for example, if you wanted to have you to ask a question. So, okay, I'm going to give it to Corey first. Let's just do that.
Oh, great.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much. Is it Christina?
Yes.
Thank you so much, and it's been really wonderful. Tracy, my question is, when you were doing the visualization, I find it, and this is something that I've been challenged by before, is really visualizing what I want. I get sort of flashes of it, but really never a very comprehensive picture. And, you know, we talk a lot about visualization and personal development. So do you have any tips for how to expand that? And is it okay to just get what you get?
Well, great question, Corey. And my initial gut instinct is that the visualizations are an ongoing process. The more that we get clarity of what we want, every time that we visualize or journal or dream and imagine, as Albert Einstein says, give yourself every day, once a day, space to dream and imagine. The more that we do that and practice that, we'll see more. And I also think what helps with getting clear on what you want is to make sure that every day you are in spaces that are inspiring you. So maybe you're reading a magazine of just beautiful places to travel. That could give you like ideas outside of what you might be able to imagine in your head. That's why I like reading. I like just looking at things outside of my profession and really pushing the box about what do I really want versus what have been the stories or the beliefs or the things that society or my family has put on me that's not actually who I am. And that's the inner work. So that's really going into who you actually are, aside from maybe what you think is possible. So I would just put back on you, write down what you did with the visualization, write down what has come up, and maybe if you feel like there was something missing, see if you could call it out. What do you think about that?
Okay. I think, yeah. I think it's interesting because I find that I change my mind. So it might be like, I love Vermont. And so I have this image in my mind of a beautiful house in Vermont. And then I go, oh, no, 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 I don't want to be on my own, or, that kind of thing. It's like, but maybe it's a piecemeal vision of having lots of different scenarios rather than being attached to one place. So that's the kind of thing. I think it's just putting the effort in.
Maybe the Vermont thing happens sometimes and you just get a gorgeous house for a month, and money it's not an object.
Yeah.
And you just go to Vermont when you feel like it because you have the freedom and you've got the lifestyle. So play around with that, and maybe you're confining it as this vision is the it, but I don't believe that. I think your vision should keep expanding. So play off that a little bit. Thank you, Corey.
That's such a good tip, actually. I totally feel the same, actually. I have the same issues as Corey does. It's just hard to commit to one vision and often just seeing the whole picture. Right, so we have Kerry who would like to ask a question as well. So let me know if you can hear us now, Kerry. Yeah.
Hi there. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
I think that you really hit the nail on the head by bringing up the topic of resistance, and that's something that I've definitely, tried to work on in recent times and years. And so, could you just review a little bit about that, as far as like what does that look like so that we know it and we can name it?
Did any of the resistance pieces come up for you? When I had that list.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what was on it, but the first thing I think of is procrastination. So I know that there's things on my to-do list that I just, don't want to do, and I keep avoiding them. So.
Okay, and I'm going to just drop them all here. Hopefully it's not overwhelming. I'm going to drop all the resistance pieces here. Let's see. Oh, it's trying to have me email you, Christina. So all attendees, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully you can see that. So I think when I'm listening to that and I would want to dig deeper is, how do you really want to do the task that you put on, or do you do it because you should do it?
Well, I mean, there's just things that you have to do in life. So like maybe it's a bad example for this, but like I had to renew my car registration, and I just left it there on the table for the longest time because doing paperwork like that is like, just draining. So, things like that, I, put them aside. Okay.
So Tony Robbins had a really cool thought when he basically came home from this event or this world tour he did. He had over 200 phone calls that he had to make, and I think back in the day there was an email, so he had to physically call all of these people. And at first he got so overwhelmed because he just went like straight stock resistance into procrastination, overwhelm. And then he said, well, how can I make this more fun? How can I enjoy the calls? What can I do that's going to make this easier for me? I have to do it, but it's going to be kind of a daunting task, or it's boring. So he actually said that he was lucky enough. He had an outdoor hot tub. So he went outside, and who knows what he was doing. And he went out in the hot tub, and he was on the phone for 2 hours. And he just was calling people like, I'm in the hot tub. He had his drink. He was outside. He was like relaxing his body. And so he basically did that task he didn't want to do, but he found a way to make it more enjoyable. I have done receipts like in the bath. Okay, because like what Tony Robbins said. So I would have 100 receipts. Does anyone agree? And like, you don't want to take photos of these. It sucks. So I would have my candles. I would be in a bath, and I would just sit there with my like thing, and I would do the receipts. So I want to challenge all of you on the things that you do need to do. Do not let the resistance stop you from. It's a mental load at this point. So you're always thinking about it. So you better check it off so you can move on. So Carrie, how can you have more fun with this? Or maybe it's a day on like a Saturday morning where you do 1 hour of all your random house stuff, and then you move on. I want to challenge you to find a way to make it fun, and maybe do it in your back house, back garden, something like that. What do you think?
good story with the Tony Robbins thing. That's great. So thank you for that. And thanks for the list in the chat. That's good.
Good. You're welcome.
Amazing. Thank you. Anyone else would like to ask? Alice was saying, I always say in my time management teaching about tying in something fun with a boring task. Yes, that's so true.
Yeah. And make sure, so today was about the 4-hour workday, about really high value activities. So the thing is that those are the most important things that you can do to launch the webinar, get on the podcast, do the collab, like the big stuff that's going to get you visible as an authority, to get you moving. If you have like low level tasks that are holding you down, you just need to find a day in your week where you allocate 2 hours and you make sure to do those. That way you're not getting back to people on email. But I voice note my clients in the morning when I go on my morning walks, because I've got y'all all talking to me and I can get overwhelmed thinking, when am I going to get back to them? So I just do it in the morning on my walks and it feels good. So again, I hope you all take away some great ideas about that your time, it's about the value, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do something high impact. But I hope that you've got some nuggets of wisdom, and please email me if you have questions or you need anything, a message Christina and I.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tracy. I absolutely love hosting webinars with you. It's always so valuable. So thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone for joining us today.